can affect your body if you eat it every day today. But first, I'm going to introduce what fast food is to you. Fast food is food that can be prepared quickly and easily and is sold in restaurants and snack bars as a quick meal or to be taken out. Fast food is a quick and cheap way of eating and is often made with cheaper ingredients such as high fat, meat, refined grains, and added sugar. The statistics of fast food users in the United States: about 70.6 million adults in the United States qualify as obese, reported by the Journal of American Medical Association in 2014. A fast food restaurant within 0.1 mile of school resulted in a 5.2% increase in teens obesity, reported in a study published in 2010 of American Economic Journal. The results of fast food to the body: high amounts of sodium aggravates high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, headaches, and acne, depression. Fast food creates extra calories, insulin resistance, high blood pressure, bloating and puffiness, shortness of breath, depression, dental distress, blood sugar spike, a weight problem, high cholesterol, hard on heart, headache, and acne, and it's mostly because of the refined ingredients in them. Fast food is addicting due to the immense amount of sugar, fat, salt that each serving of food contains, as the handbook of obesity prevention states. Once your body has digested it, immediately wants more, causing it to overload and build up more fat. So this is a chicken nugget from McDonald's. It's mechanically separated meat and is a mixture created when the bones of a carcass of a leftover chicken are mixed together in a food process, creating what McDonald's calls a McNugget. And it's just like bones and skin mixed up with meat. Toxic ingredients in processed food: high fructose corn syrup increases triglycerides, boosts fat storing hormones, and drives people to overeat and gain weight. Sodium benzoate and potassium benzoate prevents mold from growing. Benzene is a known carcinogen that is also linked with serious thyroid damage. Monosodium glutamate is a processed flavor enhancer and messes with the brain chemistry. Monosodium glutamate is a form of concentrated salt added to foods to enhance the flavor that is present in a variety of fast food and convenience store food items. These are also all highly addictive ingredients, causing you to eat some more. The overall problem with fast food items: they are cheap and mass-produced, so they are pumped full of flavor enhancers and colors to make this cheap food appealing and edible to consumers. High fructose corn syrup and partially hydrogenated oils contribute to weight gain and leads to bad cholesterol. For example, the body doesn't know what to do with high fructose corn syrup, so it stores it in cells and it cannot be broken down. All these enhancers and colorings are destroying the natural functions of the body and showing it down, causing major problems in the future. That's it.
Do you have the time on that?
I'm sorry?
Do you have the time on that?
It was 3:17.
Left?
Done.
Done. So he spoke for 3:17? All right, Vanessa, what did you think?
I think it was a good topic, and you had like all the information there. But I do think like you could have like, it kind of like you were reading out from the outline, so you kind of forgot to look at everything, you know. And I wish you would have provided like images of the like what fast food can do like to your body, instead of just like reading off what it can do. But it was a good topic, and I could hear you and everything. You were clear and everything.
All right, Joe. Couple of things. I like the topic. I think you have a clear purpose statement. There are 2 or 3 visuals that work pretty well, but there are also a whole bunch that don't work, and then there are some other problems with the speech as well. So I'm going to start with the beginning. You get started before you're even in the front of the room. You start speaking as you're walking over from the demo station, and I don't think anybody was ready for. I know I wasn't ready for you. You're going to find the first 5 seconds of your speech cut off because I didn't get the camera started. You know, I called you, you're ready, I'm getting ready, and all of a sudden you start speaking, and I jumped up here and did this. So you want to, at the beginning of the speech, you want to make sure that people are ready to listen to you. You're the focus of attention. And then you should have an attention device. You don't really have that. You start with the purpose statement. It's like it's a little bit like a kid in the elementary school. My book report today is on X, Y, and Z. You need to have some interesting way to pull us in. Now, I thought that you had some good statistics at the beginning of the speech that you could have used as your attention device. You know, for instance, that statistic that you get a 5% increase in obesity for every, fast food restaurant that's within X number of miles here. That's a good, interesting statistic to get started with, and that gives us a reason to listen to the subject a little bit then, and I think that's kind of the way you want to go about it. So switch those out a little bit, and you'll be better off. There's not really a preview of what the structure is going to be. It ends up sounding like it's a series of questions, so it shouldn't be that hard for you to tell us what those questions are at the beginning of the speech so we can be listening for them. The problem is most of the time the questions don't appear that much in your speech as they do on the screen, and then you read them to us. And I'm going to jump ahead a little bit to the visual materials because that's kind of conveniently where we happen to be at the moment. You've got an image of the McNuggets. You've got some other images there. There's a thing about what the body craves and all those sorts of things. I like those ideas there. But there are like 5 slides that are all script, and all you do is read the script there. And you don't want to do that. That's one of the things that we talked about. It's almost like watching people do karaoke. You're seeing the words along the bottom, and we're listening to you just read the words that are on the screen to us. That's not necessary. If you have keywords that you want us to remember, that's the kind of stuff that you want to put on the slides as opposed to whole and complete sentences, because you're going to give us an explanation of most of those things. I heard a couple of definitions of some complicated terminology, but you introduced like 5 or 6 of those terms, and you introduced them very quickly. You move through, and I don't always get a complete explanation of them. I know what it is, but and sometimes you kind of rush through an explanation about why it's there, but then you just give us a conclusionary statement about the impact that it has on people. Let's go back to the content issues. I heard maybe 2 or 3 source citations in the presentation, but there were lots of places where there wasn't any citation, and that's especially true when there are things that you're saying that are important. For example, you've got this description of the McNuggets and what they consist of, and I don't get a source citation on that. Who said that McNuggets are made up of chicken skin and bones that are ground together? I'm sure that somebody has written that, and that you got that from someplace. You didn't just make it up. But that ought to be cited as part of the presentation. I'm sure McDonald's would disagree, but it's easier to argue, that you've got it correct if you've got a citation on that particular point. Like I said, there are lots of terms that get introduced, but sometimes they are not completely explained. And when you're going from list to list, it doesn't really flow very smoothly. You need transition language between ideas. You need to kind of summarize the point that you're making, explain to us why that's important, then move on to the next thing. And it just feels like you're just rushing through everything, and here's another slide, here's another slide, here's another slide. It's not coming together as a speech. On the delivery, I think that she's a little generous in saying that she could hear you. I could hear you too, but it wasn't easy. You probably have a kind of quiet voice, which means that you're going to have to work a little bit harder to project. And it's not so much that it's hard to hear you, it's just hard to stay interested. It sounds like, you know, if you're reading out loud to somebody and just reading what's on the page in front of you, and it's a conversation that we're having and that sort of thing. And it's not really much of a speech to be talking that way. You've got to put a little personality into the presentation, a little bit of energy, project a little bit so that it doesn't just come across like you're reading data off of a sheet. Because we can get a brochure. I'm sure that somebody out there who is against us consuming fast food is happy to provide us a brochure, and we could read it ourselves. The purpose of speaking here is to engage the audience and pull them in, and so sometimes you're going to have to do that. When you watch back on the video, you're going to notice that probably more than half the time you're delivering the speech to the screen also. Because you are reading from the slides so often, that's what your tendency is, that you have a tendency just to kind of face the screen and turn your back, at least on this part of the audience. And even when you do look forward, you're still kind of excluding a large section of the audience. Delivery isn't heavily emphasized on this particular assignment, but that's one of the things that you need to be aware of when we're working on the next project. You should pay attention to some of those things so you can fix them next time. All right, thank you.